Saw some other hands. Yes.
You know, it can be said that the small business owner is really the heart of the American economy. A lot of my students here today are creating their new venture projects for a business plan for small business. What is the role of government, or should there be a role of government in helping to facilitate the effectiveness of the small business owner?
Yeah, so the question is, you know, the role of government and, you know, helping facilitate small business owners. So this will sound like a political statement, and it's not meant to. You know, we had a chance to meet with a number of people, you know, in the administration and the regulators early in the crisis, and when the first stimulus package was done, they asked us, you know, as investors, what did we think, and what were we hearing from all the companies in whom we invest? We weren't very positive. Okay, we said it's not working. You know, it's completely misguided, and most of the stimulus, as you know, ended up looking like a lot of other big government programs. It was, you know, building bridges to nowhere in Alaska, or it was, you know, transfer payments to states and so forth. And some of that needed to occur. But very little money ended up in the hands of small business owners to help facilitate, you know, expansion and creation of new jobs, new ideas, and so forth. And so I thought it was, you know, I thought the first stimulus program was completely misguided. What little I know of what's being proposed right now, I feel the same way. There needs to be much more incentive for small business creation, small business investment. The second part that really needs to occur is there needs to be, you know, frankly, just more stability and clarity in terms of the policies. And this is a bipartisan comment. Both parties are very guilty of this. They're so focused on short-term and re-election and whatnot that you're not seeing people create an environment that's stable. And when I talk to a lot of companies, and you know, we deal obviously with more mid-sized to larger companies who are publicly traded. As you've seen the data, mid to large companies have record levels of cash on their balance sheet. Okay. They're actually, profit margins are at all-time record levels. And you might say, well, why isn't that money being, you know, sort of reinvested in the economy? It's not being reinvested because there's no confidence that the environment that we live in is going to stabilize. Actually, everybody's planning for the worst. And it's not illogical. You know, if you go back in time, there were, you know, after the 2001, 2002 tech wreck, a lot of companies that were just minimally related to technology companies also got hurt really badly. And their management teams got beaten up by investors for not having cash on the balance sheet, for not being, you know, sort of longer term in their thinking and so forth. And so, you know, management teams learn from their experience, and they, you know, and so now they're building up these record levels of cash flow. But nobody wants to hire somebody when you think the economy might go into a second recession, you know, in 6 months, because nobody wants to go through a layoff process. And I think small business owners, even though they're not publicly traded for the most part, are going through the exact same thing. So you know, you need to have more clarity and stability in terms of, you know, frankly, it's just a crisis of confidence there. And then secondly, you really do, you know, if you're going to put money back in from a stimulus standpoint, it's got to be much more focused on the small to mid-sized business. And, you know, there are a lot of things you could do that would not cost us a lot, but that would be very stimulative, you know, from an investment tax credit standpoint. You could have a, you know, the proposed hiring tax credit makes no sense at all because it only encourages short-term hiring. There needs to be something that's a little bit more longer term. And again, we're not talking about having to spend, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars here. I think some much more focused energy on that segment would have a huge payoff.